If you've heard the word fanfiction before but aren't entirely sure what it means, buckle up. We're about to go deep into fandom culture. For the uninitiated, I will be explaining things as we go. For the ones that know what I'm talking about, I'm really sorry. But I need to be inclusive, so. Today's hot topic, fanbinding, or fanfiction bookbinding, which is exactly what it sounds like. People take fanfiction published online and turn it into physical books. Some do it by hand, others use print-on-demand services, which is a legal nightmare on its own, which we'll get into later. Now, why is this a thing? It's part of a broader resurgence of physical media. Vinyl is back, digital cameras are back, collectibles are in. And fanfiction is part of that trend. Fiesler, an associate professor at University of Colorado Boulder, who has been researching fandom and online communities for years now, said this growing desire for physical fanfic might be a reflection of what's happening in literature in general. She said her understanding is that one of the reasons special editions are so popular is because, especially for people that read ebooks mostly, books become collectibles and ways of expressing identity. And that's the thing, when you mostly read digitally, books become objects of desire. And that brings us to the Renegade Bookbinding Guild, which describes itself as a not-for-profit guild of artists engaged in binding fanish works under the idea of fandom gift economy. Their main reason for existing is to make a statement on the validity and importance of fanfiction as a genre of literature. They also want to preserve works for future generations because nothing on the internet is forever. One of their main rules is to not make profit of any kind. This is the spirit fanbinding came from. Craft, not commerce. But some people don't get that. Some people see demand and think supply. Scroll Etsy and you'll find over 1,000 listings for bound fanfic. Some copies are being sold for over £60, upwards to £100. Fanfiction isn't just being read, it's being collected, displayed and gifted, and in some cases, sold. And this is purely my deduction, not a fact, but I'm tempted to credit the boom in complete disregard for fandom norms to how mainstream fan culture has become on platforms like TikTok, especially post-pandemic. Stories like Manacled, a dark Harry Potter alternate universe, and All the Young Dudes, a retelling of the Marauders' years at Hogwarts from Remus Lupin's point of view, have gone viral. TikTok convinced thousands, even millions, to read it. Some even thought they were real books. 2025, Manacled is being published for real. And it's not alone. 50 Shades of Grey, After, The Idea of You, Red, White, and Royal Blue, they're all linked to fanfic origins. Fiesler told me that transformative fandom is still very much a gift economy, but with platforms like Etsy and TikTok, we're definitely seeing a shift in how people interact with fan works. So as this trend grows, and especially as more money enters the picture, I think it's time to ask a very not romantic question. Is this legal? And the short answer is no. The longer answer is it depends, but still no. The thing about fanfiction in general is that copyright law only tolerates it. Fanfic and copyright law aren't buddies. It's more of a, yeah, do your thing, but don't get in my way kind of relationship. To get some insight from someone that actually understands the law beyond just looking up a couple things online and showing up to media law lectures, which is me, I spoke to Tony Jaffa from Jaffa Law, a UK media law firm.
No difference in principle to any other kind of publication, but the difference with the internet is that it's worldwide, and specifically it's American. Now, US copyright is similar to ours, but different, procedurally different.
Yeah.
You have to register copyright, amongst other things. I know that. But in principle, it's very similar, and copyright the world over is very similar. But what you don't want to do is be sued anywhere. So your self-book publishers are all mad.
Yes.
Because of the risk that they're taking.
Yeah.
I mean, like, as we've just been saying, it may be that they don't know that they're taking.
Even if you're just charging for materials and not making a profit, that doesn't make it legal. Charging just for materials still involves money changing hands. Rebecca Tushnet, a Harvard law professor and member of the Organization of Transformative Works legal team, explained.
Bookbinding means making an exact copy, unlike the underlying work of fan fiction, which is not an exact copy of the source media, so the rights of the fan author are implicated. Non-commercial bookbinding for individual use is likely to be fair use, but commercialization could violate the fan author's rights if the author objects. We have also seen unauthorized use of fan art to illustrate bookbinding, and the fan artist could have the same concerns.
She said, making single handmade copies for personal use or gifting is way different than mass printing, but in the eyes of the law, it's hard to draw the line. Once money enters the equation, no matter in what capacity, it's not easy to distinguish profiting from not profiting. Rebecca told me that in her own view, when it comes to sales of full copies, they shouldn't happen without the fan author's consent. And I definitely agree with that statement. I mean, one way to ensure not being sued for copyright infringement is to get permission from the copyright holder. Easy as that. Because yes, while fanfic is based on someone else's work, the fanfic author still owns their words, their dialogue, their original characters, their original settings, and they deserve to be asked for permission. So what do fan authors have to say? A fanfiction writer publishing their work on Archive of Our Own under the username Birdie Kwiat was kind enough to provide a comment. Birdie Kwiat's works on Archive of Our Own have been viewed almost 80,000 times, even though they only started publishing in December last year. This is what Birdie told me.
As long as two very important caveats are upheld, that no one tries to profit off the fan work and that no one claims they themselves wrote it, I am comfortable with people binding my work for personal use/gifting. Ideally, I'd want someone who wants to bind my work to reach out to me and let me know, if only so I can really clean up the work of typos or provide a better PDF to use. And I'd just love to see the finished product just because. I do think bookbinding is a form of appreciation. It would make me insanely happy to see something I wrote, which resonated with people, on someone's shelf. It can cross a line if people start to sell copies of my work, because that affects both me and the author of the original work, but I have a lot of faith in the fandom community to understand that.
Some authors had to take measures to stop people from binding and selling their work against their wishes. Author of the previously mentioned Manacled, Senlin Yu, has archived this extremely popular fanfic on AO3 in January this year. And some might think it's because the work is being published traditionally, but it might just be part of the reason. I mean, many fanworks that were traditionally published are still available online, like the fanfiction that After by Anna Todd was based on, which is still available on Wattpad in its original form. Fandom also responded. Communities on Reddit issued mock warnings, banned bookbinding discussions, and encouraged mass reporting of infringing Etsy shops. Monetization of fanbinds is a sore topic in fandom. During my research for this video, a lot of members of the community declined to speak on it. When I reached out to popular communities like fanfiction on Reddit, with over 400,000 members, I was told any discussion of monetizing fanworks, even for research purposes, was against the rules of the group. And the message is clear. If we want to keep fandom free and creative, we have to respect boundaries. No one's going to jail for binding a fanfic for their personal use. But selling fanfiction as a product invites risk from original copyright holders and fanfic authors. As Rebecca Tushnet told me, fandom will always be made of people, and people will keep inventing new surprises. So bind your favorite fic. Read it, gift it, love it. Just maybe don't list it on Etsy. Fanfiction has always been about love and community. Let's keep it that way.